He was asked to pay $10,000 within the first year of buying it.
Sinking funds, condo elections, bylaws. What do you really need to know before you get yourself into condo living?
Bamboo sticks being thrown down, scissors being thrown down. Council sue owner for changing your window to a different colour.
Actually, why cannot?
Aside from the price, the location, the view, what should they look out for?
Let you in on a bit of a secret.
I want to know why cannot change the window colour.
Let me paint you a beautiful picture.
Nice.
You move into a brand new home. It's a condo. Maybe you have an infinity pool right by your balcony.
Wow.
And then all of a sudden in the distance, you're hearing tuk, tuk, tuk,
Oh yeah.
tuk. It's one of your new neighbours and they're playing pickleball downstairs.
Hey,
Great condo with a pickleball court.
fantastic.
But you look at the clock and it's 9 p.m. and they're still playing pickleball downstairs and you're trying to rest.
Okay,
We
before
be
that,
understanding.
yeah, before 10:30, okay, I think.
When you go inside your lift, now you realize, oh, the lights are flickering and then the clunky sound of the machinery reminds you of the special levy you've been asked to pay for lift upgrading works. So I think like condo living in Singapore sounds quite glamorous, right? But there's actually a lot to it than what meets the eye, you know, and there's a lot that we don't know, from sinking funds to condo elections to bylaws. What do you really need to know before you get yourself into condo living? So today we're actually joined by a condo managing agent who's seen it all over the course of his 16-year-long career.
Wow.
Welcome to the show, Mr. Hanson Tan.
Oh, Hanson.
Oh, your name is Hanson.
Do they also call you
Thank you.
handsome?
Hanson boy.
16 years. You look 20, yeah.
Wow.
Hey, I look 15 years older than you, man. Damn it.
So now your company actually manages about 170 condos, if I'm not wrong.
Oh, wow. Hey, that's a fantastic portfolio.
Maybe about 170, 180 MCSTs. Of that, about 130 are condos.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, all in, if buildings-wise, about 200. Because some projects like have 6 buildings in one project.
Sorry, you mentioned MCST, right? What does that stand for?
MCST stands for Management Corporation Strata Title. It's basically a collection of all the owners or residents. Yeah, then...
Oh, that's what MCST mean.
Yeah.
It means owners.
Then the
I always thought
MCST
was you,
elects a management council. So the management council is like the board of directors, and then the board of directors are like the elected people to spend the money from
Elected
the management
residents,
fund, the
okay.
sinking fund. Then the managing agent is like the people on the ground that are the managers, the technicians, the admin staff that go around to
Okay.
kind of facilitate the day-to-day operations, manage the cleaners,
Okay.
collect the facility
sense, makes
booking
sense.
fees, that kind of thing. Yeah.
You know, every condo then there's the little office, right?
Yes.
That office that helps you, like you would need to apply permit or you need to complain your wall crack or whatever. It's them. And then those people reports to a company that takes on the contract from the committee of residents.
Okay, so I mean, you've seen so many things over the course of like 16 years, right? Is there still anything that surprises you that you hear from residents recently?
I personally have a friend. He bought a condo in Hillview. Wow, so happy. He paid 1 million plus. He did his finances, CPF contributions, sui. Then within 12 months, because the condo was about 30 years old, right, they had to upgrade the lift. No, so he was asked to pay $10,000 within the first year of buying it. And this was completely out of his budget when he was doing his numbers for his house purchase.
Wait, but is it even normal to get 10,000 per unit? Isn't that absurd?
So in my friend's case, 10,000 was an actual number. So what he did, he went to the AGM and he banged table and he made noise. And a group of them who all refused to pay actually managed to defeat the motion. They defeated the resolution. And they go and join council. And then they studied the tender, studied the results. They
It was
went
a
to
mutiny.
So this actually happens quite often.
This sounds like a terrible outcome. This sounds like populism.
No, this sounds like they're going to realize that bopian have to pay the 10,000.
No, this sounds like a group of people that don't want to pay taxes, say we will form government and under my government there will be no taxes.
Technically, you are right. The board of directors or the condos management council is elected by the residents that come to the AGM.
Yeah.
The most vote wins. In my friend's case, he has some experience with lifts. So he actually managed to do a whole proper tender and got the tender price down from $1 million down to 600,000.
Oh! You see?
Real scenario.
What,
And then
wow.
every unit, they ended up not paying 10,000, but they ended up paying 7,000 each.
That's still a lot, actually.
But
still a
that's
lot
3,000
lah.
savings.
No, but I think that the lesson here is that a lot of people like to think, okay, once I pay off for my house, right, I'm done. Like I can live good.
Yeah.
But if it's a condo, wait a minute. There's a lot of things that you take for granted for if like you live in HDB or like public flats.
I think as an owner, the scary thing for me is that I can have almost like a fine, even though I live my life doing everything correctly. And then it's not government imposed.
Yep.
It is neighbour
Condo
imposed.
Yep.
Wait, but what are you getting fined for?
Like if I have to pay $7,000 to upgrade the relief, it feels like a levy on me.
Yeah.
That's why it's important to look at the sinking fund levels before buying the condo. In fact, BCA has been doing a few focus groups recently with councils, with managing agents. They're trying to get the industry's opinion on how sinking funds are actually voted on and derived, because this is a prevalent problem. No?
Yeah.
The older condos, a lot of them are underfunded. So as a result, right, there was actually one brilliant suggestion: make sinking funds transparent, put it on a web page somewhere. And then when you buy a condo, then you can see yourself, enough or not. Form your own opinion, is a sinking fund enough or not? Then you decide whether to buy or not. But that's, at this point, just a suggestion. But I thought through these focus groups, all these ideas come out.
Sinking fund is like the class fund, is it?
If I can explain this, on the financial part, every condo has basically two funds. One is called the management fund. That is like an OPEX fund that helps you to run your day-to-day operations.
Operational expenses.
They pay things like the security guards, the cleaners, the pest controllers, managing agent, or small repairs. They keep the estate going on a day-to-day basis. This one, it's always the case where this one forms a larger part of the contribution amount from the owners.
Sure.
Then there's a second fund called the sinking fund. This would be more like a CAPEX account. Where you have capital expenditure to do bigger projects, cyclical in nature throughout the life cycle of the estate. So for example, you need to paint every 7 years, right? You usually take that from the sinking fund. Every 7 years, then you take one time. But from the management fund, you pay the managing agent every month. You pay the guards every month. You take it from the management fund. Repairs typically come under management fund.
Got it.
But if you replace the lift or you do a full-blown modernization of the lifts, then that typically comes under sinking fund.
If someone is looking at buying a condo, aside from the price, the location, the view, what should they look out for?
So from my own professional point of view, right, it's very important to look at the sinking fund. If I were to mathematically paint an example, if you look at your condo having $2 million, you might think it's a lot, 2 million. And then the condo has maybe 600 units. I tell you, your lifts can cost $3 million. They might have to raise a special levy for you, And then this cannot even cover your repainting after that also. So you might get hit with a second special levy, if you buy this condo.
And special levy is like extra money that the unit owners need to fork out.
Exactly, yes, correct.
Sorry, why don't they do this progressively? All this, like, at least painting of condo, they can see it coming on, right? Then life cycle of lifts is predictable to an extent.
But that assumes your condo is well managed and everybody is contributing to the funds on time.
The spirit of the BSMA is to allow MCSTs to be self-governing. By self-governing, they appoint their own contractors, they determine how much to pay them, then they decide how much to collect. So there are some people that collect a lot of management fund and they deliver a lot of services. You get a very good vibe, a very atas feeling being inside the condo. But then you look at their sinking fund, right? It's empty.
Yeah. So it's vibes first.
And then they always have special levies,
Right.
Yeah. Under the law, BCA requires you to paint every 7 years. You don't paint, you can get okong, can get fined.
Oh, wow.
And if you want to delay the painting, you need to write into the Commissioner of Building to ask for an extension year on year. For condos that are especially old, the sinking fund is especially important because if the condo has maybe a bit of money inside, later on in the condo's life cycle, right, then the newer owners that buy it later on don't need to fork out so much. But if you buy a condo that is broke, then naturally when the lifts break down, when you need to repaint your condo, you have to fork out. The earlier owners all gone already.
Just to clarify for those who don't know, so like when you talk about like the condo being broke or whatnot, it's the monthly fees that all the residents pay into this little pool. It's how much money they have. So when you want to buy a condo, you can just readily ask for how much does the condo have?
Yes, you can. You can actually go to the managing agent, that's us, and then you can ask for a copy of how much the estate actually has.
You must tell me.
Okay.
Yes, we are obligated to say, because you are deemed to have an interest in the condo, then as long as you use Section 47 under the BSMA, we are obligated to pass you the info.
Yeah.
But there's a small fee to be paid. It's like $15.
Okay lah.
Just for you to tell me the number.
Okay lah. Accra $5. Okay lah.
This is a very subjective thing. If we don't ask you for the $15, we are at fault. We are depriving the MCST of the money they could have made from you.
Hey.
And if we ask you for the money, then we are the guys that are, why we still ask you for the money? So either way, we're the bad guys.
So right now, if I'm not wrong, BCA actually has like a Be Condo Savvy website that you can go and visit to learn more about this. And I think there are a few things that they do mention, such as like QHP, this kind of thing, right? Can you explain what that is?
Before you buy a condo, you can actually go to the BCA website. Just Google BCA, then Quality Housing Portal. You'll be able to see a very simple website that comes out. You can select your condo and their conquest banding. So for this construction assessment, you can see that condo, how it's assessed based on a banding of 1 to 6. 1 is the best, 6 is the worst. You can also search by the developer and you can search by the builder or the main con. But bear in mind, it's not compulsory. So if you don't find it, don't be surprised. Maybe it just wasn't passed through the conquest system.
They're not confident enough to submit their thing. I see.
Might be an older place that maybe they just didn't.
Exactly.
That's why.
But developer, from what I understand, developer is inside. It's whether the condo got put their own condo inside.
Okay.
What happens after that? So like I bought a condo that was 5 years old, freshly MOP. Then I think I stayed there for 3 years. So we just finished our repainting. And then we still got slightly less than $1 million in our sinking fund. I can say one, right? It's not like a condo secret.
It's
You just save a lot of people $15.
We got 900.
So the MCST could have earned.
You want to say your condo name also?
So what happens when we are due for the next repainting, which the past repainting cost almost $1 million, right? So then we will wipe out our sinking fund. Then we got 7 years to put back $1 million again.
Generally, that's the idea, but it's not enough to just put back $1 million. So every year,
So generally it's worse.
it's worse. Every year, the managing agent and the management council, which is like the board of directors for the condo, they are obligated to put up a budget under the law to be voted on at the AGM. Then you decide how much to contribute to the budget, to the funds. This is a year-on-year amount that changes. No? So if you only save for the repainting, right, you won't be able to do other obligations in the sinking fund, other things that you might need to pay for. For example, our water tanks, one water tank can be 50,000, 100,000. Depending on the size of the water tank. Generator sets, they also spoil after 20 years. So there's actually a whole list of items to save for. And then a lot of prioritization comes in. Then a lot of unhappiness comes in when the condo ages and you don't have enough money. It's quite an issue now where a lot of those uncle auntie, they've stayed in their condos for like 30 years. And then after 30 years, they retired. They have no more income. But without the income, right, suddenly the lifts need to be repaired. And when the lifts need to be repaired, right, oh my God, they have to fork out 20,000 as a special levy.
Then how?
It's no choice. So you go to an AGM and then you vote on whether you want the lifts repaired or upgraded. And then it goes to a general vote. So the vote decides the outcome, whether the residents pay or don't pay.
Then I don't have money, then how? Does my condo sue me?
No. So the condo will then take their arrears management policy into play. Every condo has one. Typically, first month you don't pay, the managing agent, they have this automated system, or at least my firm has this, where they then send you a gentle reminder letter, hey, pay, you owe this amount.
Okay.
Then the following month, you still don't pay, right? They send a more legalistic demand letter, but it's still not from a lawyer, it's from the MA. Then the third month, right, they send you a new bill with a very fierce demand letter, but still from the MA. Then later, the fourth month, don't pay, right? Condo to condo, this differs, but usually a legal letter comes about. The legal letter, not very expensive, $60 over. But the person owing money must pay this $60 or so. So you have to pay more and more when the legal action gets escalated. So imagine you don't want to pay the $7,000 for like a year, and it goes to court. Going to court can cost thousands. Just to get a judgment against you, you have to pay the court fee or so.
If I'm a retiree without children and there's no way I can raise that 20k, and then when I say, guys, I cannot afford this, but free game, I will sell it. Then you'll give me 6 months to sell.
Many a times that's what happens. But it's a set outcome. But this one really differs from condo to condo. Some condos, they have installment plans for people who cannot pay. Those people have a heart. I actually serve a lot of condos that do that. So they increase his payment, but he will pay the interest, but he pays it over 10 installments. So some condos actually take that approach. That's why I think the authorities are also looking into this. How can we save for the sinking funds in a bit more fairer manner?
No, but I think this kind of things I can swallow. The things that's a little bit hard to swallow is that I look at my stack. It's the best stack in the condo. There's no crack, no seepage, no nothing. But when I see other people complain about their seepage, and then they say, oh, this one warranty already expire, and the owner is probably not going to pay for exterior damage, which means all this comes from the sinking fund, which means the sinking fund will deplete, even though my building
It's beautiful.
is fine.
So like the same thing happened to me. It turns out that my ceiling was leaking, and it was leaking for a long time. I keep speaking to my MA. My MA said you have to speak to your neighbor yourself, and then you got to figure it out. And then finally found an appointment date to meet my neighbor upstairs. Realized that it was really their fault. before, but they have no evidence of them. They didn't spill water or anything. Turns out, right, it's rainwater that is coming through into their window, seeping through the bricks of the outside layer and then coming into my unit. So then apparently management say, yeah, the upstairs pay off. So then they have to settle.
No, but there is a legal issue here. This problem of leakages that you are describing, right? It is the most frequent problem that we face as managing agents. It is so frequent that I think during Minister Ma Pao Tan's time, they actually converted Strata Title Board's view on leakages to make the upstairs owner assume liability.
Sorry, who is the Strata Title Board again? Can you just
Strata Titles Board is like the legal body that gives decisions and does mediation for disputes.
Mediators lah.
It's a public
They
service?
mediate first.
Okay.
It's a public service. It's almost like a court.
Okay.
There's a panel of panelists on it. Then they sit on the panel and they mediate.
Okay.
But if they cannot mediate successfully, the same panel then becomes the judges for a dispute. And then they will rule on it. They will give a decision on it. But the purpose of this Strata Titles Board is only for the purpose of owner sue owner. You will be amazed. There are so many of these. Owner sue owner, owner sue council, council sue owner for illegal alteration, for changing your window to a different color, for a lot of things.
That'll do
Yeah.
it.
Actually, why cannot?
There's this uniformity of facade law in the BSMA. So let's say everybody's window grill is like white color, and suddenly you just don't like white, you want black. That one can get legal. If you just go ahead and do it, they will write to you to take it down and put it back, to reinstate. Especially if it's glaring. Sometimes it's beige and the rest are white. Sometimes you can get away with it. But if it's like black or blue and it really sticks out like a sore thumb, then you would probably have something to fight on.
I can see why though. Because if it's not just window grill white, it is like super bad taste.
Yeah.
Like let's say your whole...
You're saying her bad taste.
You know what I mean? If you got bad taste, if a lot of uncles have bad taste.
No,
it's like flower. It's flower. You know what I mean? The grill is not a square. It's like a flower.
It's like there is a line, right? The line is here. They have to put the line here so that you don't even get there.
So I must say a very general term of like, don't make this like for all of us.
Yeah, this would bring us into a topic of bylaws. There are two kinds of bylaws. The first kind of bylaw is called a prescribed bylaw. Now, this can be found in the law, in the BSMA. These cover things like obstruction of common area.
Okay.
If you want to run in a fire, there's a minimum 1.2 meter that you must run through.
Makes sense.
Some people go and build the shoe cabinet to block, They don't care. So this is against the prescribed bylaws. So the place to go after the fella will be the STB, the Strata Titles Board that I was talking about earlier. Then there are other bylaws that are subjective in nature. I'll give you an example. I had two condos that both had owners that rear chickens. Yeah, then these both condos put up motions, resolutions at the AGM to disallow the chickens from going onto common area, because when they go out, somehow they always poo. Then it's a little bit dirty.
Okay,
fair enough,
right? One condo actually said, no, never mind, let them. And they failed the resolution and defeated the resolution. So this one, okay, the chicken's free to roam. But the other one, right, they passed the resolution. So that's one example.
Which is the better condo.
Yeah, that's right.
I tell you, the other condo that passed the resolution, right, the chicken owner, he don't care about the resolution being passed. He said, what can you do to me? So he continued to allow his chickens to roam.
Can eat his chicken.
Then,
Or just move to the other condo. Okay.
but the matter went to court. And then, because the bylaw holds power. Once you pass it and you lodge it with PCA, actually the bylaw holds power. And therefore, when you went to court, based on the bylaw, right, the ruling was made by the STB or the Strata Titles Board against the chicken owner. So he have to keep the chickens indoor.
If I'm a very easygoing person, I don't care my window what color. I don't care whether or not I can walk my dog downstairs or I have to walk my dog outside of the condo, this kind of thing. Then I don't really care about the bylaws. Why should I still go and attend all these AGMs? Waste my time.
Because you are a stakeholder, you're an owner, you have some skin in the game. I mean, first and foremost, they determine at the annual general meeting how much to contribute from each unit for the expenses in the condo. So once you get that determined, right, they also elect at the annual general meeting who are the elected council members to go and spend this money.
Right.
Yeah, so these are very big decisions. So actually, the entire condo is invited to the meeting. But I tell you,
They won't
3 to 5%, maximum 10% show up. And then that's my experience. Some will have more. And then the vote is based on the 3 to 5% that show up. It's not based on like the 300-400 units. It's not based on everybody.
The experience that I've had, so for the majority of years that I lived in Singapore, I lived in a condo that is in somewhat of the central region. It was built in 1970, so it's old. And 80% of my neighbours are all tenants. It's quite interesting to see the AGMs, right, are either very, very old people that happen to live there since the building was first formed, right? Or it's empty. So then there's not really anyone that's really upkeeping it. The sinking fund also, everyone's complaining whenever there's an increase because they don't actually feel like the building aging.
Yeah, that's a very good point.
Right.
And in fact, these AGMs have very little people coming.
Yeah, it's like 5 people.
Because they're not that vested. And these 5 people, 3 of them become the council, and the 3 of them will
Make all the decisions.
Make all the decisions for the condo.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, by attending the AGM, firstly, you'll be kept abreast of what is happening. What are the priorities that the condo is looking at to upgrade in the condo? Whether it's lifts this year, or whether it's the playground this year, or whether it's a swimming pool retiling, or whether they want to change all the water tanks so they ensure everyone has clean water. But all this, right, goes to a vote at the AGM. So you are a stakeholder. You can, of course, don't care lah. But actually, these affect your life. You will only care very often when something that affects you gets affected. Then you start to care.
Yeah.
But
everything's politics.
exactly. But as much as possible, I would encourage participation in the annual general meeting. But there's a lot of trust there, and a lot of people just can't be bothered also. So
What surprised me about buying condo also is that the fees vary depending on kind of how big your unit is. So if you own a larger unit, then you pay a larger share of the maintenance of the facility.
Oh.
I think that's
Which
okay.
to me
No, it's not.
Yeah, it is.
is arguable
Yes, it is.
both
Yes, it is.
sides.
Because you own a
But
stake.
why?
why? Because when in strata living, when you buy a unit, you own that unit. But on top of owning that unit, you also own a share of the common area around the unit.
Yep.
That share can be 4, can be 5, can be 6. And very often the surveyors, when they determine the share value, it is based on what he said, the size of the unit, from what I see.
It's literally more square feet because you're talking about the common area
the bigger
outside your
penthouse
unit.
units have to pay more for
But I already
maintenance.
paid for my house,
the
ma.
against case is that I've already paid a lot more for the house.
Exactly.
But also, maybe it should be like number of people in the household. Because for example, if I buy a big house, like Pat and I bought a bigger space than 2% need.
Yeah.
So at best, we all 2% use the swimming pool. Then there will be smaller units that have 7 people staying inside. And then 7 of them will go swimming. You know what I'm saying?
True.
Yeah, but then you
Like
own self want to buy
their
the bigger.
household can fill up the gym.
So that's savviness. I'm really suffering because I'm squashing everybody.
That's
in our
your
tuna.
problem.
But it's your problem to buy the big unit bigger than you need.
No, but that's the case against. You know, it could somewhat be in the form of usage or
Well, I'm
equal.
I'm watching an AGM in real life.
Yeah, but the other assumption is that you could afford. So
But it's basically how the system is designed. Share values determine contribution amounts. So if you think that a lift is sport, you live on level 1, then you don't have to pay so much. The upper floor pay more. Lor. It doesn't work that way. When they determine how much special levy to contribute, then how many shares you have, that determines how much you have to pay. It's based on your share value.
What I'm hearing is that if you own a condo, don't buy level 1. Really
Don't buy
lose
the
out.
big
Yeah.
one.
Can I share a story about level 1 units?
Absolutely.
So level 1 units actually gave me one of my toughest case in my career. About
wow.
10 over years ago.
whole block leaked into his house.
We nearly didn't have this story if we didn't go here.
You see blocks if the level 1 has a patio, right? You know, naturally the patio becomes a rubbish dump for all the upper floor units to throw litter down. No?
Yeah.
Right.
So this became a prevalent problem in that condo. And across a year, they kept trying to apply to build small little shelters to protect their kids, to play in the patio. And because there were no design guidelines, and this was very long ago, before the whole safety importance came about, we didn't allow it. But we moved into a resolution to pass some design guidelines to allow for the shelters to be built. So at the AGM, we passed it. They went to build the shelters. When they went to build the shelters, right, very clever. They group buy, They group buy using a single PE and a single contractor, and they all built the same design. It was beautiful, laminated glass and all that.
Okay.
Then my nightmare started.
Oh no.
There was this group of second floor owners. They say, oh, your shelter reflect light into my unit, reflects sound into my unit, block my view.
Right.
And then there's water ponding on the
Roofing.
roofing.
Rain
So I
noisy,
got mosquito problem. So they complained to all the authorities that went to send enforcement officers down to check. But luckily our process was quite stringent. We required the applicant to have PCA, URA and SCDF approvals before we approve the final design. And they engaged the professional engineer to do it. And when the enforcement officers came, we had no issue, but it was very, very, very stressful. One of the most stressful issues I had. So after they complained to everybody, and everybody gave them an answer that no, there's nothing enforceable, they went to the MP. And when they went to the MP asked, can you attend my AGM or not? And then the council member said, no, this is self-governing. We conduct our own AGM.
Yeah.
So the second floor owners then put up a motion to use the management fund money to go and remove all the shelter. Yeah, and again, this is illegal. We were ready to call the motion out of order with some legal advice. But we went to the AGM. Wow, from lunchtime, argue until 8 p.m. No. My father called me, asked dinner, then I still at the AGM. No. In the end, the chairman allowed for the discussion to go through. Everybody trashed it up. And that's what I'm trying to advocate today. I allow it to be trashed out. Then once everything is trashed out, right? Actually, you can reach a point in the argument where the matter can be resolved. The second floor owners, even though they didn't get what they want, they heard from everybody. About 100 people came. They heard from everybody. There were tears. There were PowerPoint slides of bamboo sticks being thrown down, scissors being thrown down. You can kill people with those things.
Sometimes it's just drop. Like the children, they pour out their toy box.
Not purposely.
Accidentally. Okay.
So eventually, the matter went to a vote. Even though it was not supposed to go to a vote, we were supposed to call it out of order. But the chairman said, let it go to a vote because sure failed. Eventually, it really failed.
King.
It really,
I thought it was
failed.
going to be a twist. I was like scared. I was
Imagine
scared
he never.
Yeah, so when
You gotta trust the democracy.
you gotta trust that reasonableness will prevail. This was one of the funny or crazy problems that happened.
Can I ask, right, whether there are do people bear grudges after this kind of AGM?
I think so. It can get pretty personal. But in condo management, if possible, I would advocate also try not to get personal. Be objective, look at issues, don't look at who you like or don't like, and try not to make accusations. I tell you, can I share another example?
Absolutely.
I had this resident that drove a electric
See, you
bike.
are MP.
I love this. so
Only
much.
you and MP talk like that. So I have this resident that he drives.
I love it.
Really, in
These
this
are the best
condo
stories, by
in
the way.
River Valley, he drove a motorbike. This was about 10 years ago, before EVs were even prevalent.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Then he somehow had to charge his bike, but only had to charge little bit only. So he found this socket in the basement car park. So he went to charge it. And then the council members found out, the words they use are, you are a thief. You are stealing money. You are stealing power from the condo. Then they almost wanted to fist fight, Then we all had to go and insert ourselves in between. Can we push this agenda to the next meeting? Then we had to go and talk to them separately, try and mediate. And eventually, right, we went to do a power study. How much power does it take?
Oh my God.
You won't believe it. Back then when power was very cheap, $2, $3 only, the power he used. Just to start up the car, I think he needs some minimal power.
But
just
it's
to start
about
up the motorbike.
principles.
So eventually, we went to work out a deal with him. Can you pay $5 every month?
Right.
He said, I'm a CEO of an MNC, $5, I pay you $20, get very emotional. But you know why he was so angry?
Yeah.
Because people call him a thief.
Right.
So if possible, try not to use this kind of accusational words. Whenever an argument or you're fighting for something within the condo.
Yeah.
Actually, I made them cham. No, it's very poor thing. Because everybody in the condo feels like MA work for them.
Yeah.
Right.
And they do. But the MA is also enforcer. So you also think that the security guard work for your protection. But then when you need to protect the other neighbors against you because you are making too much noise, then the people on your payroll need to come and tell you, shut up. Yeah, and then so they always kena. And I feel like, so recently there were a slate of things that the MA is supposed to answer. So okay, I think got seepage here. Then the MA will say, okay, because under warranty. So then they will email the developer to say this thing under warranty got seepage. Can you all come and take a look? The developer never replied. These things stacks up and everybody feel like MA is not doing their job because it's endless because they never reply me, then I never reply you. You know, that kind of vibe.
Yeah.
So everybody is stacked up thinking MA never respond. And then MA is one person managing the queries of 300 over people.
So that guy, he needs to make sure the 15 to 20 term contractors, the swimming pool guy, the electrical guy, the cleaner guys, they're all doing their job. He also has to go and get 3 quotes for everything that's spoiled, report to the council. On top of that, he has to collect booking fees sometimes, collect management fees sometimes, bank it in for them. It's only one guy, But on top of that, right, when it gets a bit more contentious, gets a little bit legal, like the case that you were explaining where there's a defects. Then what they would do is they would go and talk to the developer. They will try to email, but later on, right, if the email doesn't come back, right, to be very frank, sometimes these are the frustrating pressure points where things fall through the cracks. And that's why I can understand why you or your neighbours will be a bit frustrated.
Not me, my uni is perfectly fine.
He's that.
I just wanted to put that point out there.
Fair enough. Yeah.
Can you say like why you still do this job? Like what's the rewarding part for you?
When I go into a different condo, we kind of feel the vibe of the condo. There are some condos that have hostile vibes towards the MA. There are some condos that are very well managed. And then the council actually deals very well with us. And, we are very welcome wherever we go. So I tend to like serving or seeing my portfolio of condos being of that kind of a nature. That really encourages me to do this more. Sometimes I go into a condo and then this guy is friendly to me because I solved a dispute before. So when you go into a condo, you see the place is well managed, it's clean, the grass is green. Yeah, and then there's a fresh coat of paint, the lifts are working fine. When you see things like that and everyone is saying good things, that kind of satisfaction gets to me. So that keeps me going.
People that are really just very happy in their job.
Yeah, we have people that have been in my firm for 30 plus years. I have one condo now that we manage for 30 plus years. Yeah, got many 20 over years already.
How do I find a good MA then?
Oh, okay. In determining a good MA versus a bad MA, accreditation to me plays a good part. The Association of Strata Managers and the Association of Property and Facility Managers are the only two entities sanctioned by BCA to have this accreditation. So this course quite difficult to pass on. Yeah, BCA Academy teaches one module, the polytechnics teach another module. It's thousands of dollars.
You mean I have to go back to poly to learn?
If you want to be an accredited manager, yes, you need to pass that course in order to be an accredited manager.
Wow.
So the quality of the men immediately should be better. Of course, you will still have, good ones and bad ones. But there was also a pilot study that was done recently to some condos.
Sample size.
Yeah, then a small sample size, the results came back positively that the accredited MAs deliver a good job compared to the unaccredited MAs. Now I think there's a full-blown one done for the whole Singapore. So we're hoping that the result of that will mirror the pilot study or the pilot survey that was done earlier.
Okay, so I think we've come to the end of this episode. I hope that everybody can understand the pains.
Lots to take away.
The truths about, living in a condo. So be aware when you are thinking of purchasing what you need to look out for. You can check out BCA's Be Condo Savvy website if you want to find out more. Like, share, subscribe. We'll see you in the next one. Thank you very much, Mr. Henson, for joining us.
Thank you very much.
Then his phone got 300 missed call.
But a hypothetical situation, the condo gets en bloc and the MCST fund, right, got $2 million inside. What happens to all that money?
In the collective sale committee, usually when they're elected, the powers to negotiate the terms of the collective sale is empowered to the collective sale committee.
Okay.
This collective sale committee is then powerful enough to say, okay, you buy my condo for 500 million, the sinking fund you take. But in the olden days, it was very common where the sinking fund management fund were returned to owners. This was maybe in the 90s, the 2000s. Wow, then you would see en bloc parties.
I've never seen the en bloc party.